Welcome to the Empowering Choices Parenting Podcast. My name is Joshua.
Boom!
Wow, that was Erik?
That was Erik? No, that was Lucas.
Sorry. Wow. You
I'm just really tense.
For a loop.
Yeah.
That is Lucas.
You gotta loosen up.
And that is
it's usually me that would throw for a loop, but
I know,
he's really slid into that saddle.
for a loop today, so I don't know. But today we are talking about doing a counselor's react to Bluey, and it's the Octopus episode. And so this is going to be fun. And we actually had a viewer, David, who saw our other Bluey episode and said, hey, this would be a great one to do. So here we are.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm watching Bluey episodes at my house, as I do, and that's actually not a joke, they play in my house all the time. I don't remember if I saw this one or my wife saw this one and went like, yeah, that'd be a good one for our, So I thought about it, and then, we had a viewer who was like, oh, you should do that one. So I was like, okay, that'll be the one that we look at next.
Yep.
So we all just watched it. We, for various reasons, can't just play it here. And I think we decided it was season 2, episode 46. If you're on Disney Plus,
I think
and
you
then,
were saying that.
And then if you're looking up a different database, it's a different number.
Yeah.
So Octopus being the title.
Yeah, and Bluey is my wife came home the other day with like a Bluey pencil box that she found at the gift shop at the hospital where she works. So Bluey is everywhere. Bluey is everywhere, and if you're watching this episode, it could be because you are a parent or an uncle or someone who has kids in your life, and we always try to take things and grab some practical use out of them, or you may just love Bluey. Either way, we're going to kind of look at some chunks of it and then see what Erik and Lucas as counselors kind of think what kind of messages can be drawn from this. So do we want to just dive in with a clip?
Sure, yeah, let's go ahead and play just a little bit of it, and that'll kind of set the stage for what we want to talk about.
Perfect, here we go.
And we have to steal his treasure and get back to our fish home. Is that all the rules, Dad?
There we go. There's the
This
octopus.
episode of Bluey is called Octopus.
Ta-da.
Come on, Chloe. Eee, how are we gonna get past? Don't worry, octopuses aren't very smart. Watch. Look, a robin.
And I guess that's Bandit, the dad.
Chloe, help! What do I do? Do that knee thing you do. Okay.
We'll have Josh demonstrate that knee thing at the end of the episode for an extra.
I'm free. Hooray! Now we have to get back. Let me try. Look, a cockatoo.
Couldn't tell you what a cockatoo is. Maybe it's an Australian bird. Is it an Australian bird?
I'm not sure if it's Australian, but
That's always my assumption when I don't know something from Bluey. It must be from Australia.
right.
So they're having fun.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and we didn't pre-talk about. In this episode, there's so many different topics that apply to parenting. Just kind of one of the ones that stands out to me right now is that this is a father playing with his daughter and then the daughter's friend.
Right.
Right. So, this is a dad episode, right? And dad playing pretend, and I'm pretty sure throughout the entire episode you don't hear Bandit make an intelligible sound. So he's just being a goofball.
Mm-hmm. Well, you see, and one of the great things is that this sets up imaginative play.
Yeah, absolutely
with
right.
the parent, and we're going to get farther into this,
right,
and be able to talk about a little bit of that, but. I hear parents say, what can I do with my kids? And imaginative play is one of those things that you can do. And they highlight this very well in this episode.
Well, and my wife is perpetually saying that she doesn't know how to play with kids. And that's the topic that she's talking about, like what you just mentioned. And then she perpetually does a spectacularly great job of playing with kids and being silly and doing these things. So we get an episode of Dad. We get an episode of Dad being a goofball and engaging in his daughter's world. And then we'll see kind of a different dad and how it's not always so easy, right? And then do you have that next bit queued up?
So basically,
apparently this next dad is named Frank. Which
okay.
I'm not sure why he's a Dalmatian named Frank, but there you go.
Yeah. So Frank's daughter comes home and now is, I guess, wanting Frank to play.
Right. Oh, very much like I had fun. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Well, you have a really good thing there with kids is that kids want to redo the same thing that was so fun.
Yes.
And one of the big thing that we have to learn as human beings is that each time is going to be different.
Yes.
Because they're emotional brain thinkers, they're going to think it's going to be just the same amount of fun because it was fun the first time. Yeah. And so that becomes a really big stretching type of a lesson, is that no, each time it's going to be different, and that's okay.
Right.
So my daughter is perpetually telling me after we do an activity, we'll do coloring, or we'll read a book, or we'll do something, and she'll say, "Can we do that again?" And what she means is that fun experience that I just had, I want it again, exactly the same way that I just had it.
And again.
Right.
Yeah.
And understandably, she wants to feel happy and have positive experiences. And as you said, she had an emotional thing, and she's like, "Give it to me again."
Where you're getting the dopamine types of responses.
Yeah.
And that's a part of growing up, is understanding that you don't have to have the same thing again to get those dopamine pieces. In other words, to feel happy,
right?
To enjoy things. And so that becomes something that also, as it takes a different form, as we're going to see, it's going to have a different set of fun.
Dad, no, it's too easy.
Oh, my knees.
Let's try swapping.
And this is just halfway through the middle of them playing, but
Okay, here we go. Got it.
No, Dad, you have to go along this bit.
But this is the safer route.
Dad!
Okay, I'll go this way.
you can just see how he's just such a different person than Bandit.
I win. What's up, Chloe? Is the game over?
Yes, you're not playing it properly.
But this is how I play it.
Bluey's dad is more fun than you.
Oh, I see.
No joke, right?
And that is kind of a piece that is there, because at times she's looking for the experience she just had with Bluey's dad.
Right.
With Bluey's dad and with her friend Bluey,
Right.
Neither of whom are in the next scene, right?
Right.
She's at home, different person, everything's different.
Well, and we went halfway through in that scene, because in the beginning, I mean, Frank is really willing to be a part of this.
In his own way. He approaches it just so differently.
He doesn't have a clue.
That too.
And so he's like, "Okay, I'll be an octopus." And she's like, "Well, this is the treasure." And he's like, "But octopuses don't have treasure. That's a pirate thing." And so he's getting
no
very
context.
logical in there. And she's like, "Okay, you have to be an octopus." And he's like, "Bloop, bloop. This is what this octopus does."
Sure.
He
has no context based on the thing in his daughter's head.
Right. And so one of the things, because like I've worked with a lot of parents who kind of like your wife said, "I don't know how to play with kids." And my first thing is, how did you play when you were a kid? And to most of them, they're like, "I didn't play. I didn't get to play."
Oof.
Yeah.
And there are people who have life circumstances where that is factually accurate.
Yes. And so, I mean, in the playroom with their child, I will be kind of assisting and narrating. Okay, now you're a troll, and the troll is, and so they're taking on different elements of the troll, and they're learning how to pretend play. Because it doesn't look like Frank really has a good grasp on how to either pretend play or go back to his own childhood and pretend play now as an adult with a child.
The irony that it was just striking me about how he was engaging about the game was like, "Oh, so you're the octopus. I know how long your arms are.
Yep.
So I'm just going to walk
He just
around
walked
them."
right around her
Very
reach.
logical solution.
Yes.
And
he's very logical in there.
And the funny thing that I was thinking about is like, well, that's almost kind of a real concrete approach, which is the thing that we usually say about children, right? They're concrete and immediate focused. But in this case, the child is taking this imaginative approach, and in the imaginative game, the game must be played within these bounds.
Yep.
Which is almost, it's not like adult thinking, but I guess there's abstract thinking there, and he's being logical in this case.
There's elements of child thinking that goes into adulthood, but if it doesn't get widened out, it still remains in those child boundaries. in that concrete place, which is kind of what we're seeing with Frank, is one of those areas, and I think we're going into the next part of this where that begins to get a little bit challenged.
Right. Yeah. Frank basically goes over sitting at the computer, and then the daughter comes up to see what he's up to.
Well, I'm sorry I said Bluey's dad is more fun than you.
That's okay. He probably is.
But you're fun
An
too.
interesting admission.
Really? It's just that every time I do something, you say, no, but octopuses don't do that.
Do I?
Yes.
Well, that's funny, because I feel like every time I say something, you say, no, octopuses don't do that.
Oh. Well, how about this rule? No one is allowed to say, no, but octopuses don't do that.
Okay, what should we say instead?
How about we can say, yes, this octopus does that.
Yeah, but in octopus, that sounds a bit like this.
Yeah.
And then they go on and talk a lot about
Yeah.
the octopus facts.
Well, but right before, that scene that we just played, I mean, he's at the computer by himself.
Right.
And Chloe comes up and she's like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, I'm looking up octopuses. And she's like, why are you doing that? And he's like, well, because I thought if I knew more about octopus, I could play
the
with
game
you better.
Yeah.
His approach
Yes.
to solving the problem and a valiant effort, but he's just going about it in, well, I mean, you can see
Very
the differences
logically.
between
Yeah.
Bandit and Frank, where Bandit's just like, boo, I'm an octopus. Frank's like, I'm going to find out what real octopuses are like.
And in that process, Chloe joins him and they're talking about octopus and electric eel and different types of octopus and different types of sea creatures. Because, I mean, at one point when Chloe is first trying to play with him, she's like, oh, look, a robin. And he's like, why would there be a robin in the sea? And so she's like, Dad, because she wants to be fully imaginative in there. As they're learning things, he even says, listen, I just learned that I was wrong. Octopus do actually gather treasure.
Right.
And see, look here, they gather these seashells and these different things to make their home strong. That's treasure. And so they're connecting in this way to where his logical part is coming and widening out into an imaginative part because he needs more information to allow himself to be more imaginative. And they learned, he taught Chloe that octopus will shoot out ink as a way of defending themselves.
Chloe! Hey, Chloe. Do you want to play octopus with us? Oh, okay.
My favorite part of Bluey is that they wag their tails when they're happy, and you just don't get that
Got it.
cue.
I'll be a South Mariba octopus.
Oh, no. That's a poisonous one. You have to freeze for 4 seconds if he touches you. Oh, okay. Let's go. Bluey, he got you. 1, 2, 3. Don't worry, I'm an electric eel. Oh, wow. Haha, got your treasure. How will we get back? Watch this. Look, a flying fish. He's got an ink on you. He did what? Octopi can squirt ink out. I didn't know that. Don't worry, I'll save you.
So it's really cool because it's like the game has now actually become it's morphed.
Yeah, it's widened out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just personally watch this, and I think like I very much enjoy imaginative stories and fiction and fantasy and stuff, and it's just hitting all of those notes, and you can see the silliness that we had kind of in the first one, but then you can see kind of the depth that Frank's involvement brought,
Right.
Because he's like, I'm going to be a South Mariba octopus, and Chloe probably knows what that is now, which is poisonous, and they can squirt ink.
Well,
And
she
then-
informed Blue. That's what no, not that one.
Well, and then he's being silly with the ink by covering Bluey with a blanket.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So both of those things are happening at the same time because both of them, Chloe and Frank, were kind of willing to meet each other a little bit.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Can I be the octopus? Yeah.
This is kind of the little closing segment.
Can the octopus be poisonous and electric? Yeah,
This octopus can.
And that's the kind of
Right.
the resolution.
And that's that piece where they came to,
Right.
we're going to say this octopus can.
Right.
That way it doesn't have to be these rigid rules.
Yeah, and it's just really cool there to look at those dads just being so different, and then the one struggling, but then pushing himself a little bit, and then ended up making it cool. And who knows, maybe all that will backwash, and then Bandit's going to be doing ink octopus. It's just
well, that when Bluey goes home,
Right.
it'll be like, wait, Dad, this you're not as dumb as I thought you were as an octopus.
You're right. Yeah, there's all these new things, but I do think frequently, like that would really. I feel like that would be that would hit hard for your kid to be like,
Oh gosh,
you're not as much fun as so-and-so's dad.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and you've got to not take that and as if an adult told you that and be like, well, let me tell you, or get upset. You need to think like, where's that coming from, and what could I do to make this play better?
Well, it's very much the I hate you, right? That's that classic thing of I hate you, Mom.
I don't think it would go. I don't think I'd go that strong with it.
It just kind of feels like it's those things that your kids say that they probably don't mean.
They heard, and at the same time, in their emotional mind, there is a difference.
Sure,
I know my dad was not an athletic individual, and so when I'm coming up with some of my friends and they have athletic dads, and I was very much athletic and energetic, they're funner than my dad.
Right.
And I want my dad to be able to do. I want him to shoot hoops, and I don't even know if he knew what a basketball hoop was. And that's just not his strength set. And he had to kind of take that and roll with that and work with. Okay, let me show you where I'm fun.
Yep.
And so that's the thing is that as a parent, when you get thrown that ball, yes, it's going to sting. Yes, it's going to hurt. And you've got to take that and be able to roll with that in a way that you help them see there are differences in people. Right. And so, yes, I may not be able to, play sports the way that dad can, but let me show you what I can do that probably that dad can't do.
Right.
And let's find the fun in that. And so they begin to learn that there are different things of fun.
And you see again in the episode Frank say that something about I'm sorry I said you weren't as fun as Bluey's dad, and he goes, maybe that's true. And then you see how his skill set of the intellectual fact gathering part enhanced their play. Right.
Yeah.
Right. He also became sillier by that second segment.
Right.
Which,
so,
I almost wonder if they should have depicted him like not doing all the things Bluey's dad did and being more himself, or just being like a different because he was being as silly as Bluey's dad. And I almost wonder if it would have enhanced the depiction of if he was a little bit different and doing some more unique things that were more him.
Yeah, I see what you're going with.
Yeah.
I kind of went with the ink being a part of that.
Well, absolutely.
The bringing in of the different types of octopus, the eel, those things. That's kind of how I saw that.
Those were his elements that he brought in for sure.
But he could have. They could have written it a little bit like that. And I mean, we could see it go back to Bandit's house and see how that then begins to affect the play over there. Because now, like you said, Blue's not going to accept that an octopus is dumb.
Right, that an octopus is dumb, or that maybe there's a robin under the sea. Or why aren't you electric like you're not as smart as Chloe's dad?
Right.
Is that maybe the retort there? It
could be. So it's going to shift back to Bandit, and then Bandit has to do something with that to be able to work with that, and may widen out their play in some different ways. That the experience of playing octopus are different from home to home, and how that works. And the bottom line is, as parents, are we able to be flexible in order to allow ourselves in our kids' world to not be able to kind of strap it down with adult logical thinking, to re-enter a kid's world. And for all of those parents who are looking at that and going, my body cannot do those things.
Where Frank says, ouch, my knees.
Right. Yeah. I understand that because I mean, I had a mom who said, how do I play with my kids? I don't know how to play. I've never played when I was a kid. And we began to play with dinosaurs, and I was showing some different things of playing on the floor. And she said, I can't get on the floor.
Limited mobility, whatever it was that she had going on.
Yes, she was military.
Her own knees.
And military hurt her in her time there. And so now we're looking at table, bed, different play. And she said, I can do the bed. And then suddenly the world just opened up, a lot like that, because now she found a place that she could learn to be silly.
Well, I was just going to say, so, I mean, it sounds like a big part of that is some people too will naturally, like, I feel like I'm probably like very childish. So, right. So I like naturally am going to do those things. Some other people, they just may be a more reserved person. They may not be used to that. But like innately, it was funny you mentioned dinosaurs. Last night, we opened up a Christmas gift from weeks ago, but my son got his first thing that had dinosaurs in it. And he innately took and grabbed one and brought it to me. And then he took and grabbed the other one and came over to me. And
so like here's one for you, Dad, like, and then here's mine.
Play this. And and kids want, they want to have fun. And so,
you had to figure out what playing dinosaurs meant.
Exactly. Yeah. And so we got down and we did that. But I think, one of the commenter who had mentioned doing that just talked about how some parents are creative, some parents are logical, some kids are creative, some kids are logical. Sure. And so you just have to do that. And as kids grow older, some of those things I think stick out more. And so then at some point there may be a case where one kid just still wants to play Octopus like that, but another kid may be like, let's go to the aquarium. You could do that and I'll show you and we'll learn. So Bluey just has so much fun stuff. I hope we can do more. Bluey.
Well, we were talking about potentially branching out into other what would that be? Other series.
We've got another one.
So if you've got other parenting media presentations that you think we should look at or comment on, and I guess what would that be? The teaser would be the Big City Greens show is the next one that we're potentially going to look at, which we got from one of your clients. I think that was our favorite show.
Yeah,
and it was playing in our office.
They like to put it on in the lobby.
Nice, totally. So definitely leave us comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know if there's any other Bluey episodes that you really think there's some cool parenting stuff in. Let us know if there's any other shows or anything. And then we'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe and like the channel, leave a comment. That does a lot to help us. And we just are aiming to try to help parents to be better parents. And we have a lot of resources and materials and things that are available on our website at empoweringchoices.community. We have an app you can download by searching Empowering Choices. And definitely come back next week for the next show, and we'll see you then.
Blub, blub, blub.